BraveMaker Show is hosted by Tony Gapastione. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Yo, thanks for tuning in. It's showtime. My name is Tony Gapastione. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm an actor, writer, director living in the Bay Area. And this is the BraveMaker Podcast, episode 222. And we are going to be doing a Sundance 2024 recap with some special friends. But real quick, I'm wearing a black hat and a black shirt with yellow glasses in my very colorful BraveMaker studio. And we are an organization that exists to educate, entertain, and create community experiences for justice, diversity, and inclusion. And I have made some really amazing friends over the course of this work. A couple of them I got to hang out in a condo with, and I met another person from a condo party that we didn't really get a chance to talk, but it's going to be here today, that is moving and shaking and creating content in this entertainment industry that we love. So let me bring in first two of my condo mates, actually my roommate for the week at Sundance 2024, Tristan J Schuler. What's up, Tristan?
Yo, I'm Tristan J Schuler. I am a writer, director, actor. I am Tony's roommate from over at Sundance this past year, and also the director of brand management and partnerships over at Roadmap Writers, an online screenwriting training company where we work to elevate emerging writers and connect you with literary management and development execs to launch your careers. I'm so happy to be here, Tony. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, I'm wearing. I am wearing a burgundy red floral robe, silk robe, a gold chain that makes me feel fly, and I'm a beautiful person.
Beautiful person that said I only snored one night during the
and Tony
week.
only snored once.
Speaking of beautiful people, let's bring in my work wife, the amazing, talented producer and actress, Priscilla Lam. What's up, Priscilla?
Hey, everybody. I am Priscilla Lam. I am the work wife to Tony. I call him work husband all the time. He's one of the hardest working men I know. So a little bit about me. I am in a red hoodie. It says, "But God." I have black curly hair. I am light brown. I have a white and black background behind me. And I'm super excited to be here. I go by she, hers. And I'm ready to get into our Sundance recap.
Okay, we got to do this. We're going to crack down all different sorts of things. But we have somebody else joining us today. So this is the beauty of Sundance. We had a party at our condo with Roadmap and BraveMaker. Tristan, how many people came through? You estimated.
My estimate is, pushing like 350, 400 people.
Get out of here.
Because at any time there was 60, 70 people in the space.
There was definitely about 60 or 70 at any time. There was only 2 times I felt like this is out of control, too tight. I felt a little bit like, oh my gosh, it's claustrophobic. But then you looked across the room like, just move out of the kitchen.
Yes.
Right?
Well, that's where the food and drink was. Hey.
Yeah. But one of the people who came to our party who was on the list, I just sent out like, hey, good to meet y'all, who responded to that email is actor, producer, all things Kabir Chopra. Kabir, welcome. Introduce yourself. Turn your microphone on and it's all you.
Forgot to unmute myself. Hi, everybody. Good to be here. Thank you so much. My name's Kabir. My pronouns are he and him. I am a Indian writer and actor here in LA. I am wearing a brown sweater in my living room with my brown sofa and my brown little table. And yeah, it's a nice little brown ensemble of things going on here.
Come on, Brown. We love Brown.
Yes.
Kabir, your background looks so good, it almost looks fake. Like it looks like a virtual background. Honestly, it looks really good. Like you got the cleaners came before you got on this show.
That's an Airbnb. You booked an Airbnb.
I might have booked an Airbnb just for this podcast. I have half an hour left.
All right, let me ask you. Let's start off. Just like, what was Sundance for you? I know Tristan and Priscilla, this was your first time going. Kabir, was this your first time, or you been there many times?
This is actually my third time going.
Third time.
But
All right, let's start
I feel like it was the best one yet.
Ooh, okay, cool. Let's start with our newbies, and then we'll go to you, Kabir. What stands out to you two? What was the vibe for you? What did you take home? What were you riding high with? And we'll also get to things that could have been different and that weren't so great either. So don't worry.
Okay. Tristan, you want to go first? Or want me to go first?
You go for it. Ladies first, baby.
Okay. So this is my first time. If you follow me on Instagram at Ms. Priscilla Lam, MS Priscilla Lam, I explained that I cried my first day there because I was having so many insecurities. But the biggest thing that stood out for the trip, which helped stand out, was the fact that unless you're an A-lister actor or director, you literally are trying to get in yourself. Like you're literally trying to network. You're trying to figure it out. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things is that like to be amongst people who are established and who have resumes to still be like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get in myself. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to network. I'm still trying to move up. And so I didn't feel like a fish out of water. And I felt like that was really nice just to know that like, I'm not the only actor or film producer that's still out here hustling and still out here trying to figure out how do we get to that next level, whatever that means.
Yeah. It was also my first time. Also, Tony, you're so great with this streaming. Like, can I just you're just amazing. Like, I'm just watching you as a director here. It's really wonderful work. No, I got to stay at our Roadmap BraveMaker little space and where we threw a party on Saturday. And for Sundance, it was my first time able to come. And I'm so grateful that I was able to be there on behalf of Roadmap writers and with collaboration with BraveMaker and some beautiful creatives that we were all partying and staying with and networking with. But I think what it was for me was it was all about community. So much of entertainment. I come from the theater space and moving into TV and film. It's just a continuous reminder that it takes a village. That we are not alone in this, which is kind of what Priscilla said. We're not the only ones doing the hustle, right? And we're doing the hustle together. We're doing the hustle to make films and make an impact and tell stories together. And it does take so many people. And I think great, there's us partying. But for me, it was all about community. So being able to just organically and authentically enjoy the different connections, the different little celebrities here and there, the different crew members and creatives who worked on all the films that I was seeing. It was Sundance, any film festival is about this. You know, it's not just Sundance. BraveMaker's like this as well. It's about building your network, and that's what networking is, right? Networking isn't about schmoozing and being like, let's make a Hollywood movie. Networking is about building a community that you trust, building a community that you think alike creatively and ethically. So for me, it was like, okay, how do I be in this space that is legit? How do I be in this space that is a little bit taunting because of how legitimate and how high roller this might be, and move through it organically and authentically and build fun, beautiful, actual meaningful connections, which is not easy.
Yeah, not easy. Yeah, the meaningful part, like, it does take intentionality, right? And so, Kabir, you've been a few times. This is my 12th. I always forget, 12 or 13. I think it's my 12th official time. And I was telling Priscilla on night one, like, we'll get there too. Like, imposter syndrome and insecurities can definitely rise up. But I think I've learned along the way is if I keep them at a kind of an appropriate, realistic level, I know I always have a crash and I'm always comparing myself. And I'm like, that person's 24 years old and they have a film in Sundance. Now they're an Oscar nominated, all those things. But if you kind of like just keep it grounded, like at our condo party, it was like we throw our own party and we were just talking to people and meeting people. And it didn't feel like tacky. It didn't feel, schmoozy or weird. It felt like just real human beings. And we made some really great connections. And I love that. So Kabir, you were at that party. That's how we connected. Mm-hmm. This is your third time. You said this is the best ever. Why? Why would you say that?
It's because we had a party. That's why it was the best ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I probably went to like 20 parties that weekend. Roadmap, BraveMaker had the best condo party. And can I just say, I love a good house party. And it's so hard, especially it's so rare to like so many of these things, events, like they're great events in beautiful venues with giant bars and dance floors and food and restaurants, but there's nothing like a good house party. It's so intimate and fun. So, I mean, I think what was different for me this time, the first time I went was in 2017, and I had no idea what I was getting into. I kind of just wanted to show up just to show up. And it was very easy for me to feel lost in the crowd. And I still had a good time and still made some good connections, but I was kind of just winging it. And then the second time was a bit better. I knew what I was getting into and I had more friends that I knew there. And that was in 2020. And I still had a good time, but I got home and I was super sick afterwards. And I think we all know why.
In 2020, you got COVID?
Yes.
Did you? Oh, yeah.
And so this time around, I was familiar with Sundance and I was very intentional with what I wanted to do. I'm working on my first feature right now, and it's something I want to act in as well as be a writer on. It's a romantic comedy. And so I'm going with a little bit of an agenda of I want to meet people that I can collaborate with, but also leave enough flexibility where if I meet a really cool person and we're vibing it out, I want to follow that through.
So you kind of came hoping you would make some connections. Like, what specifically? Were you looking for a producer? Were you looking for more collaborators? What specifically? When you would meet people, would you say, hey, I got this feature and this is what I'm looking for?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. I was looking for a producer and people who I could add to my team. Mm-hmm. And I think that helped me in a way where I was intentional about what events I wanted to go to, but also just I want to leave some openness where I say, okay, maybe you're not the right fit for this project, but I really like your work and your pitch sounds amazing. I want to learn more. Let's be friends and let's follow up. And what I realized is that the key to all the Sundance networking is the follow-ups afterwards, because that's when the magic's going to happen. It's when you go home.
Yeah, the magic follow-up. Yeah. Can anybody else speak to that? Like, what was the follow-up like afterward? Did you feel like you made some good connections that you're happy about?
I mean, I think the follow-up's still happening. Like, I was only, what is it? Is it Friday? When do we get back? Monday?
Friday, yeah.
To be completely frank, I've been catching up on work since I got home. But even then, like, I have some meetings next week that just to touch base in a less crowded environment with some of the people that I was meeting last week. So it's been a lot of just like, when are you free? When are you free? When can we grab coffee? When can we do this? So the follow-ups are still happening. That wasn't the answer to your question, but
no, it's still happening.
I'll jump in. I agree. Follow-ups are still happening. I'm still trying to schedule out some Zooms. But I think one that was very special to me that kind of feel like almost a full circle moment is Tony and I went to a lounge and we saw the American TV director, Ken Whittingham. And I was telling Tony that when I met him, blubber was just coming out my mouth. And all I could say was like, thank you for being here. Like I threw the event, not even throw the event. So I just felt so like, oh my gosh. And then Tony came in and he networked perfectly as he does because he's a great networker. And I was telling Tony like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't even sound proper or I didn't even make sense when I talked to him. And then I ended up sitting with him at the last Luther Vandross documentary movie. We exchanged numbers. Now, if you don't know who Ken Whittingham is, go look him up, and then you'll be able to really understand the gravity of like, oh my gosh. And then what happened when I got back home, I followed up with a different friend who did not go to Sundance, and she's in the entertainment industry as a screenwriter, wrote for some of my favorite TV shows. And she was like, hey, I just want to let you know that Ken let me know that he met you at Sundance. Yeah, and so it's like, perfect. Okay, God, like, you know, the moments that we feel the stupidest, the moments we feel like, oh my gosh, did I bomb that? Sometimes happen to have like the most beautiful turnout in ways we didn't expect. And so that's like one of the connections that I just want to be like, oh, you know, okay, God, work it out.
Priscilla, you said something, and I forget when. I think it was at another break. Oh, it was at our January event. You said something to me about you just never know. I mean, we use this phrase, you just never know who's a somebody, which sounds kind of weird, but sometimes we look at the persons with the amazing fashion and coat and hair and hats, and we go, oh, there's somebody. But then you see somebody in like a Target jacket with a beanie, and you're like, they're nobody, right? But I have tried to just go introduce myself to anybody and everybody, like whoever you are. I want to know who you are. I want to know your story. And that has like paid off for me, where I just was walking down Main Street. I was walking up Main Street, and I just turned to the guy. We were shoulder to shoulder. It was so packed. And I just turned to the guy and I said, hey, what's up? What do you do? You're here for a reason. And he said, oh, I'm a writer and producer, blah, blah, blah. Me and my partner are working on some stuff. I was like, oh, who's your partner? I just said, who's your partner? And then he drops a name, and I knew that name. I was like, oh my gosh, I love that person's work. I saw that person's film here last year. I know the other blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, yeah, he's right behind you. And then I just turned around. I was like, what? I never would have thought the person who looked very normal to me. And then I went and looked him up later, and that person was like a president of a production company. It was just mind blowing because he didn't look like a president of a production company and or the partner of this person that was behind me, who's a name that I'm not going to drop that I hope I can connect with. You know, that kind of stuff.
What does the president of a company look like?
Right, you know? Exactly.
We're humans just like you. We wear blue jeans.
But the idea of like, and that was such a beautiful moment that I got to witness myself. It's like the idea of like the most flashiest thing, like everything that glitter isn't necessarily gold, and like sometimes it's the simple moments, the simple connections that like really turn out to be some of the most beautiful. Yeah. Right? And I can't wait. And Kabir, please tell us about you. Like, did you meet anybody that you unexpectedly didn't think would be so beautiful from your connections that you made at Sundance?
Yeah, I mean, I met. Honestly, it started at the airport. Really, I was boarding my flight from LA to Salt Lake City, and then this lovely actress sat next to me. We just started chatting, and then she just met like 5 people just at the gate, and then we exchanged info. I'm like, cool, and then found out she was on my flight going home, and then I saw her on my flight going home. Dang. So I'm like, wow, it starts as soon as that. And then, just bopping around Main Street, just chatting with people at, Atticus, the cafe.
My favorite.
Yeah. Great spot, great coffee, great little burritos. And then, honestly, just waiting in line, just getting drinks with people. Like I was at a panel, and I got like this canned whiskey Coke thing. And then this other girl was also getting the same whiskey Coke. I'm like, oh yeah, I got that too. It's good. Yeah. Became friends, and that's what I love about Sundance, is that everyone there is so approachable and so easy to talk to.
Yeah,
that it feels much easier to make friends there than, say, if you're back home.
Yeah,
because everyone's there with a like-mindedness. Everyone's there knowing what we're there for. We're there to be in a community of filmmakers and artists. So why the hell not talk to the person you're waiting in line with? I get that. I met some wild folks in line. It was a line kind of town.
Tell us one that stands out.
No, I get some folks who were who down to party is people who were really enjoying themselves is what I meant by that. That really were responsible for me having, not responsible, but were aspect of why it was such a fun time and not just a business time.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan of let's just have a good time and let the good times roll. Let the good times bring about networking versus going into something with intentions aside, because we always need intentions, but going into something with ulterior motives. I don't like to go into things with ulterior motives. I like to go in things being like, find the fun, and who is meant for me will be where the fun's at.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I want to encourage anybody, like, if you don't have enough money to pay for lodging and get a Sundance package, just go to Sundance. Don't buy any Sundance tickets and just walk up and down Main Street.
You'll get tickets.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Screening tickets. That's one big thing I learned this year. I was like, oh, I kind of wish I didn't get the pack ahead of time. And I just got tickets day of or did wait list more, because you don't need to have the pass to enjoy Sundance for what it is.
Not at all. You walk up and down Main Street, you will get something out of the experience. I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about that. What you learned, what do you wish was different? Maybe even what was a little bit challenging, because Sundance can really, I think, let me back up. I was at a party. I was at the Bay Area party, and someone was like texting next to me, and he said, "Hey, I'm inviting my friend over here. What would you say is the vibe of this party? Is it worth it?" Da, da, da. And I said, and I looked around. I was like, I think the parties are what you make of it. Some parties are going to be hard to get into. Some parties are going to be like people just like name dropping, get out of those conversations fast. But if you come to a party, like, make it what you want it to be, right? Yeah. So that was something I took on, because I can easily get discouraged and I can easily get frustrated. I definitely left a line after waiting 20 to 30 minutes. I was like, I'm not going to wait out here for an hour. This is not what I want for my time. So I had to kind of get used to dropping spontaneously things I hoped to do. There was times when I didn't go to a movie because I got offered to go to another thing that I thought would be more fruitful. I'm like, well, I can probably see that movie another time. I should go to this party to make connections instead. And that kind of worked out, in my favor, kind of thing. But what about you all? What did you wish was different, more challenging? We have Olga, who was at the condo with us, said, so true. Single tickets are sold out, but some are released the day of. Waitlist opens 2 hours before each screening. Plus, there are so many events and talks to attend. Thanks, Olga.
Yeah. Or like honestly, Priscilla pitched this idea to me beforehand, and I told her no, and I regret it. But she was like, how about we go halvesies on one of these passes? I wish I would have done that. Like, go, like, if you want to do the pass, it depends on how many days you're not going to see more than 2, maybe 3 films a day if you're doing the networking thing, right? So if you're there for 5 days, you're not going to see 15 films. It's just going to be impossible. You're waiting in line for 30 minutes to an hour. You're hanging out after the film for the Q&A to talk with the creators, talk with other people you were sitting with, to reconnect with people you were in line with, and be like, yo, what'd you think of that? So yeah, I wish I would have said yes to that idea, Priscilla. I'm sorry that I didn't say yes to that.
We got an opportunity next year. Don't even worry about it.
Absolutely.
I think that for me, like one of the biggest things that I experienced on this trip was like challenging my insecurities and imposter syndrome. And I think like a lot of experiences here like taught me so many lessons. Like the first lesson was like going into Sundance, I wish that I had a movie there, a film that I produced there, or I was on the screen there. And I didn't feel like, should I even be going? I'm not in the film festival. It's not going to be the same. And then come to find out, there were many actors who were having multiple lines with big name stars in movies that didn't even have lodging or a ticket to the movie premiere. And so moments like that, like really just settled in me. I think like God was just really just trying to teach me, like, stop trying to wish to be in other people's shoes. Water your own grass. You're there how you got there, and make the best of how you got there, and make the best of the moment. I think that was one lesson. And also the other lesson is that I'm exactly where I need to be with who I need to be at the time I need to be. So one thing that does suck is that you have to wait in lines to get into a lot of stuff, or you need to find the invitation and to get on the guest list. And there are times when there's like pop-in parties, parties that you think that if you get into that room, major connections will happen for your specific goal, your intention. And when you don't end up getting into those rooms, being okay and being at peace, like, okay, this moment wasn't meant for me. And I remember that specifically because I was trying to go to that movie premiere after party, waited 40 minutes in 29-degree weather outside at midnight, didn't get in, and I was hoping to meet their filmmakers. And then the next night at another party that we just stumbled in, I actually met someone that was from the Bay Area that was actually a part of the casting crew. And it was like, I could have spent my energy spending bad for not getting into that party, thinking that was the moment for me to network. But all in all, like God had it for me to meet them at another time that we could really talk and we get to know them and the people that I needed to know. So yeah, I just think there are so many lessons of just like, your journey is your journey. Water your own grass, make the best out of your grass. And even when things went wrong or didn't work out at Sundance, like when you go to the next event, you're like, oh, this is still great. We're still having a good time.
Priscilla, you had I told you this a couple of times. You had such a different experience than me. I've been going for so many years, and I'm like super cheap and frugal, and I'm like making food at the condo, and I'm like trying to get all the free food. And I saw you eating out and seeing all these amazing things I've never seen in Park City. You and your cousins, like, what? Where is she finding these things? It just goes to show you make it what you want, and everybody has a different way. It's like the industry. There's no right way to get in the industry or to do the festival. And so I love that. Kabir, what about you? What is something that didn't go right or you wish was different, or that something you learned you'll do different next time?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, two things, and kind of similar to what Priscilla was saying. And I definitely felt that imposter syndrome at times. And it's very easy to feel small at a festival like Sundance, where you have A-list actors, directors, writers, and all Hollywood is coming into this little ski town for a weekend, and you are literally rubbing elbows with the right people, and it's very easy to feel small and insignificant. And so I wish I took more time to just remind myself, and maybe even just go back and check out my own work, which I don't think we always do as writers, and just remind ourselves how awesome we are and the value that we bring to the table as creators. And just know that you are an equal. You're in the same room and you're getting closer. The fact that you're here at Sundance is already putting you ahead than anyone else. So I wish I took more time to remind myself of that. And then also just like self-care, physical self-care. Park City is a very cold, mountainous, hilly town. People get altitude sickness. My first day, I went all the way up Main Street. I got winded, and I checked my phone. I walked 20,000 steps my first day. So
I should have got a Fitbit. I should be on that level.
Yeah. And I didn't realize, because I was literally going from party to panel, to party to panel, to party to panel, grabbing whatever free food, free coffee, free drinks I can get. And then I didn't realize it's like my back was killing me. And I was just frazzled. I was just like, I needed to take a timeout. I needed to just quietly just sit down 30 minutes, recharge my physical battery and my phone battery. Just take care of yourself, pace yourself. Like, it is a physically grueling festival. So take care.
I want to kind of piggyback on that in regards to, yes, like the amount of FOMO I always experience. Like one day I was out for 13 hours. I had to buy deodorant at 7-Eleven because I did not go back to the condo. And our condo was like 10 minutes from Main Street. We were so close to Main Street, but I found myself just like, there were so many things. And I had to make myself like sit down at a cafe and just take, some moments for me, because you're just thinking, I have to be there. I have to do that. I have to be over there. And, for someone like me, I'm an extrovert. It's like, it's super easy to get absorbed into all that and kind of lose that self-care element. So thank you for bringing that. Just like simple things. Like I make myself bring emergency and all those kind of like little things you can drop in your water bottle. Because if you don't drink water in the altitude, people like pass out. It really is. It's like going on a hike, 20,000 steps. Main Street is an incline, right? So that's a big deal.
And the altitude. I mean, the whole week I felt like I was doing that.
Same.
I was like, I haven't had asthma in years, but here we are, Utah, giving me asthma again. It's a workout.
It's almost like you should be training like a couple months before you go to Sundance. You should be
Legit.
training, bro. I want to bring up, so I sent this to our condo mates. I don't know if you saw this, Kabir, but there was an article that was written on the group called Dear Producer by Megan Gilbride and Rebecca Green. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but they did a really kind of big expose, which was very enlightening and kind of exposing about the Sundance experience. If you're watching us live or on the replay here, episode 222, I'll make sure I'll put it on the show notes for the audio version. But they talked about some of the broken parts of Sundance. And I think this is a good discussion to have because we look at Sundance, we elevate it, to this place. It's 40 years. It launches careers. People go to the Academy Awards, from Sundance. Look at Past Lives from last year, 2022. But there's also like, they don't give their filmmakers much time once they get selected to when they have to be screened. The ability to like turn things around. It is very expensive. Like you have to spend $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 to come to Park City. It's a privileged space. Even feature filmmakers who are selected, it's like you get, what was it, Priscilla? Do you remember $500 or something like that?
It was like $700, something like that. Like something that is not covering a 2-night stay in Park City.
Plus all of your food and all of your travel. So we elevate it to a place that seems like it's amazing, but it's very taxing on the artist too, in so many ways. And so this article that their dear producer put out was just kind of challenging that, is it fully accessible truly to all people as audiences and as artists? If you are a wheelchair user, Park City could not be so easy with the snow and the slush and the shuttles. And I read that and I was really humbled because we do our film festival here, in Redwood City, California, BraveMaker. And I'm like, I always was feeling bad that we were not able to give as much money to filmmakers, to make the trek. But if Sundance isn't doing that, I'm like, wow, it really shows the system and sort of how much money we put out there. Like we go into the hole, sometimes to make a film and then to screen a film. I don't know. I just would love your thoughts when you think about how Sundance is broken or maybe how we elevate it to a place that it shouldn't, that could be kind of problematic. Thoughts from any of you?
Well, I cannot wait to read that article. So thank you for sharing it. But no, I can't agree more either. I think it's not super accessible by any means, but not physically, not for it's very able-bodied. The snow is a lot, even for people who are able-bodied. I love that there's a little bit of a stipend given, but yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, from my relation to that is just as far as when it comes to just mental and emotional strain that it takes on people who don't have films don't have, like, I didn't have a film in there, but it's a lot of emotional and as artists, we're empaths, right? Mm-hmm. We take on so much energy. And I don't know if there's many spaces that are just there to chill, but I guess that's not the point. Like it has to be, it's very high stakes the whole time. Like many times I went home and took a nap. I'm not going to lie. I took a nap because I need to refuel. I need to be like, okay, my empath is overflowing right now. I need to take a second for me. Like you just said, you had a 13-hour day where you didn't even go home once. You didn't have deodorant. Is it really conducive to showing our best light when we're running on low? And I think that's also just like call me Paris Hilton, but that's like, we're trying to find that work-life balance. And at film festivals, does that exist? I don't know.
Go ahead, Tristan. Sorry.
No, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely could not agree more. And I think that this is the beauty of like what Kabir said with taking care of yourself and how you're talking about, like, I needed to take naps. Like I definitely during the trip got overwhelmed with the networking and just having to always like talk and like, sometimes there's conversation where you meet somebody and it's like genuine. And it's just like, oh, what are you up to? Like not really even talking about business, just being like, how's your day today? You know what I mean? Like, and then just being like, there were times like, which I really appreciated with my cousin, we were able to get away from Main Street and go have dinners or go do things that weren't about the festival so that I didn't have to worry about like talking about who I am and things like that. I was just able to exist and enjoy Park City. And then after my break, go ahead and get back into the swing of things, go down Main Street, and then spend the next 5 hours being in someone's face and someone being in mine. But I think the article, I got a chance to read it. I appreciate them for writing it. I think that a lot of times us as filmmakers or actors, we feel like we're missing out because we aren't somewhere or we're not doing something, and you get to see like from articles like this, like, slow down, like you're not missing out. You don't know what the other filmmakers or the actors are doing to even be in that space, what it's costing them. And I just appreciate them for writing the article, because it, like, even as a film festival director and founder yourself, Tony, like all the guilt that you may have felt over the years of like, dang, I wish I could fly you guys out, your director, your producer, and maybe your 2 lead actors, and it's just like you putting this pressure on yourself because we perceive larger scale festivals to do that, but we really actually don't know the behind the scenes. So
yeah.
And BraveMaker, I mean, you do such a good job taking care of your artists. Like, it really was so impressive. I just went for the first time last year, and not to move this off of Sundance for a second, just to give you your flowers, because I believe in giving artists their flowers. You take care of your artists and your guests and everything so well. So
thank you.
If you have, it's a testament to saying, like, when... And, at Roadmap, we believe we're humans first, we're filmmakers and writers second. We're humans first. And
Yes.
keep saying, when you have people who are running the show who care about the humanity behind people, which I believe you really do, Tony, it changes things.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Kabir, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Sundance. Oh, echo.
There you are.
You're back.
Okay. And yeah, I think Sundance as a festival is almost like a visual representation of the industry itself, where it's very flashy, it's very fun, it's very cool on the outside. But unless you are a celebrity or a filmmaker in the festival, a lot of it is kind of, it's guarded against outsiders. And there's so many lounges and parties and things on Main Street, but if you're just the average Joe, you can't really get in. You have to be on the list, or you have to know someone
on the list.
So it becomes like this hustle of just, oh, how do I get into this party? How do I get on this list? Oh, do you know someone? How do I sign up? Where's the form? All this stuff. And it's really exhausting. And yeah, I mean, I think it's worth the effort once you finally get in and you can finally meet people. But it is very tough for outsiders to get in and enjoy Sundance. But that's why I always suggest go with a group of friends, go have a crew of at least 2, 3, 4 people, and you can be each other's support system, and you can help each other out. And that's how I've been doing it the last couple of years.
It does make a difference when you can come back to your condo, your place, and go, oh, share stories. Like, we got each other's back. And, shouting out, like, what I loved too is when somebody is able to call you out and say, oh, I want you to meet, meet Tristan, meet Priscilla, meet Kabir. Like, when someone does that for you, also shout out to my friend Farron, our friend Farron, filmmaker from BraveMaker Film Fest last year. She was on staff at the festival. She was so generous with her time and her introductions. When I was hanging out with her, I felt like she didn't have to do that. She's also looking for funding and producers for her project. But every time I hung out with her, which was about 3 or 4 times, she introduced me to 3 or 4 people. It was a really beautiful thing. And that generosity, like, of generating connections and relationships was so cool. And so going back to what you said about, it can easily feel like you're an outsider there, but if you have people that you're on the inside with, that you go, no, I have my cushion, in a positive way, my entourage, that I know I'm accepted and valued and loved, and I can be myself. Like, that's the way to go. Because we met friends. Priscilla and I knew some people who were in a film at Sundance, which is so awesome. Freaky Tales, Bay Area film, DD Bay Area
nice.
Film. Lots of cool films. But like Priscilla was saying, they came to Sundance not even having tickets, or really kind of, and it is what it is. I mean, they had like people like Jay Ellis and Pedro, Pascal, and Normani and other people in their film, but they were outside hucking, like, trying to get tickets, trying to get themselves in there. And I had a ticket to the film that they were in, but they didn't have it. They eventually got in, which is amazing, and they both had a pretty significant role in the film. But it just made me think, like, wow, you just never know. You're in a film premiering at Sundance, and you're not really even invited to come to the stage, to be in the question and response time. You're not invited to the red carpet. You're outside going, can I get in, please? I swear I'm in that film. Wild. wild.
It was mind blowing, and that's the conversation, right? Because at the end of the day, it is show business, right? So we got to see during the Sundance experience also the gravity of business, because some of the actors that were outside waiting had more lines than some of the actors in the movie that have more of a bigger resume. Like I don't know his name, but I know two of the actors that were on the stage for the panels and the Q&As, they had less lines than the actors that didn't have tickets to the movie. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I understand as a Sundance Film Festival and as the producers, like, of course, I'm going to show them. You saw them on your favorite TV show. You saw them on all this. Like, of course, they're going to draw more business than the no-name actor that had more lines than them. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of was like, dang, it sucks. But, like, also reminds you, like, okay, it's business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, and then to walk away from that and as a film producer to be able to say, like, okay, I know what it's like to be an unknown actor, because I am one right now.
I know you.
And
I know you now.
That would have been a moment for the unknown actors to be able to go on the Macro Lodge stage and introduce themselves, sitting across from the guy that plays in Avatar 2, sitting behind Jay Ellis. Like, for them and for their career, how special that would be. So as a film producer, I can go forward and create how I want people to be presented when I have films that are showing on platforms like that, and to be open to, like, maybe that might be best for business, but maybe there's a spot in the way I run my business where I can look out for the artists and the actors that are a part of my projects to launch them and to take them to the next level. Those are the things that kind of set on my heart as I witnessed those moments at Sundance.
We talked about that a lot. We talked about that a lot last week. Yeah. I mean, that was huge. Oh, look how cute you look eating that fondue.
She got so many cute videos like this. Dang. The concept of paying it forward, remembering where you come from, looking out for others. I think that is really important. If you're watching us live and you want to throw something in the comments, we'd love to read it out. What was something you took away? What was something that was important to you? What was something you would do different? We're wrapping up here. We got about 10 minutes left. But I think, again, goes back to, what do you make it, right? We have the power, whether we feel like it or not, to make somebody's day, to look at somebody, to see them, to validate them, to ask them questions. One of my favorite things is when people are just curious. I can immediately write off somebody if they're like all about their agenda, if they, sit down next to me or with me. And I'm going to say something, this might get me in trouble, because I had a meeting today based off of a connection here. I think they just RSVP'd for our party and did not come. It was so wild, y'all. I sent an email out to our list saying, hey, thanks for coming. We're so glad you met. Here's some of my highlights. If I can connect with you and help make a connection, great. Kabir replied, okay, cool. Another person replied, let's get together. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for a director, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, cool. I got on a Zoom. They had no idea who I was. They did not research. I'm like, so you came to the party. It's so cool. I didn't get a chance to meet you. They're like, what party?
Interesting.
So interesting. They're like dropping names. Do you know this person? Do you know that person? I was like, no, I don't. I was with Roadmap. I was with BraveMaker. Oh, maybe I didn't come. I was like, oh, okay. And then they started rattling off all this stuff, not asking one question. I'm like, I don't even think they didn't even know my name. Like, what? It was just mind-boggling. That is a small percentage of my connections, but that does happen. And I'm like, I was like, 15 minutes, I'm out. Bye, thanks.
15, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I spend more time in the bathroom. But yeah, that's hard. That's very, very, very hard. That's, again, like, I'm like, that's why my general aesthetic is just go where the fun's at. Like, if this vibe isn't vibing and like you don't even care, you are here for an ulterior motive. It's so clear to another human being when you actually don't care about them. Mm-hmm. And the paying it forward energy, it's like, we're here to support each other as artists and as humans. We're not here to use each other as artists and humans. We're here to support and work with, not work at or work for. So keeping that mindset as we're continuing to build connections and build relationships with folks that could move the needle for you, or you can move for them, like, care. Oh, give a little bit of love. Have a little tenderness.
Go where the fun is at. Follow Follow at Tristan J Schuler on Instagram.
Who's that cool guy?
That was me after watching the Mean Girls movie. I was very feeling myself.
Kabir, any other
Very
thoughts
touched.
about yourself with networking, follow up as you're kind of reflecting back on Sundance? By the way, you all should go and watch Kabir's webisode called Swiped to Death. I watched a couple episodes. So cool. Congratulations on
Thank
getting
you.
that out into the world. Really cool to make a connection with you in that way. We'll put it in the chat as well as in the show notes. If you're listening to episode 222 on the audio, make sure you follow Kabir Chopra. But anything else you want to add about your experience, just kind of takeaways, things that, I'd love also hearing like the things that didn't go well, the icky parts of Sundance,
You would. I thought you were the positive one in our relationship. That's what we were saying.
How we learn. It's how we learn.
But I was the complainer. You were the optimist.
I do. I haven't been optimist, but I do once in a while. Gotta throw that out there. Slipping on the ice, right? Slipping on the ice.
Oh, I slipped on the ice.
Yes.
I definitely fell on my ass. Yeah.
I wish I would have gotten into the hot tub in freezing cold weather. I didn't get a chance to do that, and I'm very disappointed in myself for not making that happen.
Next year.
That's my note.
You have to go back.
That's my note for Sundance. More hot tubs.
Yeah, I would say just be kind to people. Help each other out. I mean, I got ahead in my own personal career and journey because a lot of people who are more established had the time to take coffee with me and answer my questions. And while I don't think I'm that established yet, a couple people have asked me to do the same.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to, and I'd love to. So find little ways to give back. Have coffee with that young writer, actor who's just starting out. Give them suggestions. Give them tips. Just pay it forward.
Sounds like, again, that whole concept of paying it forward. And when you get to that spot, right, too, like when you're in a position of power and of authority, I mean, I also saw some of the negative sides. Like I saw people chasing Will Ferrell down the street. I saw people doing that to Kristen Stewart as well. I understand why people have to be guarded a little bit, like they have to protect themselves because it does get a little wild. But, Jay Ellis from Insecure, he did a little video for Priscilla. Pauly Shore stopped, and talked with me. Brittany O'Grady from It's What's Inside, who most of us will know from season 1 of The White Lotus. Just like super generous with their time. Like we're willing to do a little video for me. And I asked for permission too. It wasn't like I just put which I always think that's important too. Don't just think everybody owes you a picture, a selfie, a video. Like just ask for permission. Is it okay if I take a picture with you? Is it okay if we do? I said, hey, can I get 2 minutes of your time? I run a organization that cares about actors. Would you give us some advice? And she did it. It was really, really cool. But I think that's a part of like what you're saying, Kabir, is just be kind, be freaking kind to people.
And I will say too that like I definitely fanned out. I didn't do as much for Jay Ellis because Tony already blessed me with a video from him. But I definitely did it for Morris Chestnut. Morris Chestnut was walking down the hall. I literally mobbed down the hallway. I was like, Morris. So I will admit, like, sometimes like it does happen. It does take over you. You know what I'm saying? And I embrace the moment because at the end of the day, you're Morris Chestnut. And yeah.
And I think that's cool.
Some of my most like beautiful interactions at Sundance, and they happened both ways. I'm not a starstruck person. I never fan out, unfortunately, unless I'm looking in the mirror.
This guy.
But I, was when someone, it's a hard time. Festivals are overwhelming, and as an empath, it's like impossible not to check in with people and be like, oh my god, that person's suffering, that person's taking a breath over there, that person's so some of my most beautiful interactions were going up to people who I could tell were overwhelmed. I mean, like, yo, you good? Do you need something?
Good. Yeah.
Or vice versa, when people notice that about me. And Tony and Priscilla, you guys were great about that all week. Like, yo, you good? Like, what do you need? You need a breath, you need a walk. And on that walk, on that breath, whatever, having a conversation about our humanity, and then being like, this is the kind of stuff I write about, actually. We should totally do a script swap. Or, oh, you're looking to direct a project that is exactly what I'm working on? Let's talk. Let's set a coffee. But they all started with just checking in with, you good?
That's great.
you know, whether it was me checking in with them because I saw that they were zoning out a little bit because it was overload networking, or them checking in with me because I zone out a lot when it's overload networking. But that was some of the most beautiful interactions, and I think the key to that is just kindness.
I'll cherish that moment, just thinking about that with you and Priscilla and Tristan. I love that. Like, we had, like, we're human, you know, and it reminded me too, like, I know my tendencies to get inside my head and heart and be comparison, and it was like, I want people to do that for me too, you know. And so I love that. That was I haven't always had the best experiences when you're shacking up with a lot of people, you know, in a condo, but we had really, truly, it felt like every one of us had really good experiences, and I can't wait to do it again. And it sounds like you had the same thing, Kabir. So find your crew, your tribe, and travel with them and fest with them. And yeah, it's great. All right, we're coming up on the hour here. Final thoughts that you want people. I love what's coming up for you. Where do you want people to follow you? I know we got a couple things like our mixer coming up on February 7th and the deadline stuff for the competitions. But final thoughts as we wrap up our pod here.
I didn't say this, but everyone should go see American Society for Magical Negroes.
Yeah, let's talk movies. Great idea. Yeah, we didn't even talk about movies we love. Keep going.
I think it is getting so much buzz because it's so there's a lot of controversial thoughts about it because it's a racial satire written by a biracial person who lives in the middle of worlds. And so I'm just going to shout that out really important as a biracial person who writes about contradictory identities. Go see American Society of Magical Negroes. Take a step outside of yourself to understand exactly what someone who lives in the middle of worlds feels and is trying to say, and have a conversation. After I saw that film, 6 people came up to me afterwards as I was leaving, being like, yo, can I get your thoughts on this? Yo, can I get your thoughts on it? Including an interracial couple who has mixed children who wasn't filmmakers at all. One was a nurse and one was a teacher, and they just wanted to see this film so that they can have conversations with their mixed kids. So, like, for me, that's just important for me to say. Go see that film. It has theatrical distribution. I think it comes out next month. But I love that.
All right, movies. What'd you love? Yeah, Kabir, what'd you love?
I shamelessly have not seen any of the movies yet, just because I didn't have a chance to. But this weekend, I mean, some of them are online. I fully plan to watch Didi, and I'm very excited to watch Girls Will Be Girls, because I've heard nothing but amazing
Which
things.
Girls Will Be Girls and Didi both won awards. Congratulations to Sean Wang.
Congrats.
He is a Bay Area filmmaker. I'm watching that tonight with my kids. I'm very excited. I will shout out of My Mind, which is coming out on Disney Plus in the fall, and I met the filmmaker Amber and some of her cast and crew, and I fanned out on that movie too. It was about a 13-year-old with cerebral palsy. So well done. We laughed, we cried. People were sobbing. People were laughing so hard and loud. And if you're listening, participants, I'm trying to get you to come to the film festival in Redwood City called BraveMaker in July. I loved that movie so much. Out of My Mind. I also loved Greg Jardin's movie, It's What's Inside. That was the big sale. I saw $17 million sold to Netflix. It was it's a mystery thriller. It was in the midnight section. I would not call it a horror whatsoever, but I loved it. James Morosini, Brittany O'Grady. It was such a surprise film. I really, really liked that a lot. And I also liked Girl State, which is an Apple documentary, so that you can check that out. They have another film called Boy State, which is about a bunch of high school students that go and do like a faux political experience. Like, what does it look like to be a president or a governor or on the Supreme Court? It opened my mind, made me laugh, and also made me sad for our country's justice system and equality amongst genders. Really, really great films. What about you, Priscilla?
Yes, so I love Didi. I felt like Didi was a beautiful movie, and I just love that it's from the Bay, and the filmmaker is 28 years old. I love that they had the grandma was his real grandma. And so just so many things I just personally love about Didi. But the other movie that stole my heart was Rob Peace. Rob Peace is a powerful story. They based it off of a book. The real mother was present at the premiere, and the movie is just powerful. It's just other than that, like it's based on a young Black man who was outrageously genius, microbiologist, graduated top at Yale, but he had a foot out and a foot into the, to the streets, and just walking through his life and showing beautifully how, as humans, we can want to do good and still have moments that are flawed. And how do we tell the story of that person in a beautiful way where we don't criminalize them? Because we can understand their motives and why they made the decisions that they made. It was beautiful. Like, if y'all got a chance to watch Raw Peace, please check out that movie.
Nice. We got people in the comments, our friends and our condo mates, Kelly White, producer, saying Ghostlight and Suncoast. Katie Austin, also a actor and writer, says Your Monster was the fave for me. Awesome. Love to hear that. Yeah, there's so many ones you can watch online for the next few days. You can go to sundance.org. They're not paying us to promote, so this is unpaid promotion. But go and check them out.
You can also go to BraveMaker.com and check out this film festival happening in Redwood City. I heard it's pretty cool. This July, we're throwing a mixer next Wednesday, the Wednesday after next Wednesday, and 2 Wednesdays up in Redwood City. If you're an industry folk, if you're an actor, a writer, a producer, an exec, what am I missing? Director, a crew member, doing whatever, come through in Redwood City, February 7th on our Instagram, BraveMaker.org or BraveMaker Film Fest or Roadmap Writers. We got RSVP links galore on there. We would love to see you. We would love to buy you a drink. We would love to hang out and just continue building this community that supports. We also, Tony is outstanding. He's going to be one of our judges over at Roadmap Writers for our shorts competition. So if you have a short that's either a script or film, come on, phone call. Submit your short over to this. I'll put the link in here. It's not working because technology is crazy. But submit your short. Tony's amazing. He's one of our brilliant judges. We want to watch your films. We want to elevate your films and push them forward and get eyes on them, right? Nothing happens if people don't read you. Nothing happens if people don't watch you. So get yourself out there and do that through places like BraveMaker, places like Roadmap Writers. Okay, now we're done with plugs.
Yeah. Well, Kabir, you want to plug yourself? Where can people find you on the gram and all the places?
So if you like terrible dad jokes, follow me on Instagram. Kabir is here. Or TikTok, Kabir's still here because some guys stole it.
Kabir is here on Insta and Kabir is still here on TikTok. I love it. Priscilla, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at 11th Hour Creative or MS Priscilla Lam.
Miss Priscilla Lamb, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between.
And Tristan J Schuler, I just couldn't shout that out because I know it. So glad we are all connected. Y'all, this has been so fun. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in and listening and watching. BraveMaker.org is where you can find us. We are a nonprofit, just like Sundance, by the way. Sundance is a freaking nonprofit, right? That just is $1 million nonprofit. I'm over here working 3 jobs trying to make life. That's how it works. Slowly but surely, we will get to the place where we can. And my heart is trying to figure out how we do this whole thing. But if you want to help us do the film festival, be at the festival, submit your film at bravemaker.com/film festival. You can volunteer July 11th through the 14th. And like Tristan said, we're doing February 7th. Every single month now, we have a film screening or a mixer. So make sure you follow along. We want to help you move your career forward. We really do. And we don't want to in any way do it out of fear or competition. We believe that collectively we can make great stuff. Thank you so much for your time. You 3 on this pod has so much love. Kabir, great to meet you. And we'll keep doing this again.
Good to meet you too. Thank you for having me.
For sure. Go to bravemaker.com for more. Follow these people and we'll be in touch, everybody. All right. That's it. Brave stories change the world and you are the story. Bye, everybody.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at BraveMaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.